There is a place that officially does not exist, yet far too many people claim they have seen it. A place that appears on maps only to vanish later, as if someone deliberately erased it. A place where compasses fail, clocks stop, and people who return can never fully explain what happened to them. For centuries, humanity has believed that the world could be measured, mapped, and eventually understood. Mountains were climbed, oceans crossed, skies conquered. With each discovery came the comforting illusion that nothing truly unknown remained. And yet, scattered across history are quiet contradictions. Moments when explorers, sailors, pilots, and researchers encountered something that refused to be categorized, something that did not behave like a place should. Everything begins with a simple question. If our planet has been fully explored, then why do coordinates exist that do not match any map? Long before satellites filled the skies, navigators relied on stars, magnetic fields, and instruments that translated reality into numbers. Those numbers were meant to be absolute, reliable. But in the mid-20th century, reports began to surface of coordinates that produced impossible results. Locations where instruments contradicted one another. Places where longitude and latitude led to nothing, and then suddenly to something. Military archives from that era contain flight logs marked as anomalous. The official explanation almost always points to mechanical failure, pilot error, or atmospheric interference. Yet when examined closely, these reports share patterns that are difficult to ignore. Different pilots, different aircraft, different years, and yet the same descriptions. They speak of light where there should be darkness, of structures where no land exists, of a sensation that reality itself had shifted slightly out of alignment. One of the earliest documented cases involves a patrol aircraft flying a routine route over open ocean. The weather was clear, visibility was perfect. Nothing unusual had been expected. But midway through the flight, the radio began transmitting a repeating signal. It was not a voice, not a distress call. It was a sequence of numbers, coordinates, repeating with mechanical precision. When the navigator plotted the coordinates, confusion spread through the cockpit. The location did not correspond to any known island, shipping lane, or restricted zone. Command was notified. The response was brief: maintain course and ignore the signal. But the signal did not stop. As the aircraft drew closer to the coordinates, the crew noticed subtle changes. The hum of the engines lost its rhythm. The compass needle trembled, then spun. The sky ahead appeared brighter than the surrounding horizon, as if light were bleeding through the air itself. Then they saw it. It was not an island, it was not a ship. It was a city. Suspended impossibly over the ocean, the city glowed with a steady, unnatural light. There were no visible flames, no power sources, no reflections of sun or moon. And yet every structure was clearly visible. Towers rose at irregular angles. Pathways curved in ways that made the eyes ache to follow. The city looked ancient and futuristic at the same time, as though it did not belong to any single era. One crew member later described the site as recognizable, but wrong. Another said it felt like looking at a memory that did not belong to him. The aircraft circled briefly. Cameras malfunctioned. Photographic film exposed itself before images could be captured. And then, without warning, the city vanished. Not slowly, not dramatically. It simply was not there anymore. When the aircraft returned to base, the crew was certain that only a few hours had passed. They were exhausted, but nothing seemed extraordinary, until ground control compared logs. According to official records, the plane had been missing for several additional hours. During that time, it had not appeared on radar. Radio contact had been impossible. From the world's perspective, the aircraft had ceased to exist. The crew was questioned separately. Their testimonies matched in every significant detail. The city, the light, the feeling of being watched, the coordinates, and yet within weeks the case was closed. The explanation given was mass hallucination induced by stress. But the story did not end there. Each crew member began experiencing the same recurring dream. In the dream, the city returned, always silent, always waiting. Sometimes they stood at its edge. Sometimes they walked its streets. One man claimed he could read symbols etched into the structures, despite never having learned the language. Another reported waking up to find his watch running several minutes ahead every morning. Within months, all members of the crew were removed from active duty. Some resigned, others were quietly reassigned. Contact between them was discouraged. The files were sealed, yet similar stories continue.
If you want to see more stories like this, like the video and subscribe.